Well, hello, everybody. I'm Ed Parcaut with Brian Is it Galke? I think
Yeah.
that's it, not Galke. And
Yeah.
we are ACES53. ACES53 is, I learned in college from one of my instructors, which was 4 ACES and a Joker, which stands for attitude, commitment, enthusiasm, and smile, which you bring to the table in sales. And that Joker is that unique ability that you have, or something you've learned that you have over other people. I sold by the phone for 18 years. I still talk on the phone a lot, and I didn't realize I had a deeper voice than most people. So that's what helped me. Doesn't sound that way right now because I've talked so much today already, and I'm losing it. So, all right, Brian, how you doing today?
I'm good. So you're losing it, or you're losing your voice?
Both.
Okay.
Both. Yeah.
I'm
What are you
good.
gonna do? I mean, it's one of those days.
Yeah.
You try to get by, and it's amazing how much busier I am this year, and it's getting busy. And I'm talking with regular business plus all this video, and we'll talk more about that later. But it seems like the busier you are, the more you get done.
Yes.
So they say if you want to get something done, find a busy person. Is that what it is?
And ask them to do it. That's exactly it. No
and
good goes unpunished.
Yeah, and exactly. And our biggest thing is how to become the authority in your industry. That's what we've been talking about for the past. And that's our big thing that we big push that I keep talking about because I'm on radio. I wrote a book that came out last year and I was in a documentary. But what it actually can hurt you, and you have to help people understand. And what I'm talking about is the other day, one of my referral partners goes, I tried to refer this guy to you to get, and he's like, you mean that radio star? He's too busy for me. And it's like, no, the whole purpose of what we do, video, all this stuff on TikTok, all the social media stuff is so you can find us. I don't want to advertise on radio. I'd rather have a show on radio. And it's all about education. So explain to the people as you're going that they're so important to you. That's why you're doing this. And I've seen this with a real estate agent that's really huge on Instagram. She was losing deals because people were like, she doesn't want my transaction. It's too small. Yeah. We want all transactions.
It is funny, you go through that where you first can't get anybody to give you any work, right? Because, well, I haven't seen you do it before. And then you start posting your success and like, oh, they're too big for me. It's like, no, for the right opportunity, everybody will do anything. But
not for the right opportunity. For me, so there are some people in my industry who go, that's too small of a transaction for me. I'm better than that. I'm sorry. I'm here to help everybody.
Right.
And I've learned a long time ago, somebody who might have a $200,000 loan, they have other people they know that have high, they'll refer somebody to you that's going to make it. Say, I help everybody, period.
Right. Well, it's the difference between you don't sell a product one time and don't care. You build relationships, right? And that's
what I do.
Well, you try.
Okay. All right. Who's our joker? So Thursdays we have a joker. Who's our joker today, Brian?
Today is Karen Grace. I met Karen at a speakeasy, much like how you and I met. We had one in Dallas a year ago, I think a year ago in January, and she was in the room with us. And so we got to be friends with her. She helps. She's involved in a lot of stuff. I don't want to give away her thunder before she comes on. But what I thought she'd be perfect for today is the fact she helps a lot of people with their mindset. So a lot of people say, hey, I want to get into business, but mentally, are you ready to be there? We all have imposter syndrome, but there's so much more that goes into it. And she's got her hands into a whole variety of things. So in addition to being a coach, she's involved with Success North Dallas, which is a large networking group here in Dallas. Obviously, since it's called Success North Dallas.
Hopefully it's successful.
Yes. And it's one of those things of, since we're talking about how to become an authority in 2024, where are you holding yourself back? And that could be around finances. A lot of people have a hard time asking for money. That was my biggest struggle. Struggle number one was pressing play and actually putting myself out there. The second one was when it came time to talk money, it was like, how much do you pay? It was a very meek part of my presentation. You want me to get up and rock the stage? No problem. You want me to ask for money? Big problem.
Yeah. So, well, we talked about that before. I had somebody else lock all my loans because I would give the farm away for free.
Right.
Hey, you seem a little short today. Why don't you raise yourself up a little?
You mean take my desk down?
Whatever works for you.
If not, I'm gonna have to jump the whole time.
That's all right. Yeah, you're not that short. I've seen you in person. Well, we talk so much. Let's bring our guest in today. I'll add her, so don't worry about it. All right. Hello, Karen.
Hey guys, how are you?
Good.
You do okay.
I love watching the Muppet Show. This is so good.
The Muppet Show. Should you just put us down?
I told her you and I like the two grumpy men up in the top who just bicker a whole lot.
The balcony show and the
Yeah.
Yeah,
We like to have fun.
Yeah.
I love
Do
it.
good and
I
have
love it.
fun. Yeah.
You bring the energy.
All right. So mindset. That's been my issue. What I mean by that is I have too many. So I do a lot of podcasts. I have a podcast called Inner Edison, which is your greatest accomplishments come from your greatest defeats. I get hit up by coaches all the time who want to talk about mindset. And please, this is not about you. So don't take it personally. And then I have people who are like, and I ask them, okay, well, what do you do? And they go, I help people get unstuck. What do you mean by that? Unstuck. They can't explain what they do. So help us today understand what you really do when it comes to the mindset that you're talking about.
Yeah. Where are people stuck and how do you help them?
So don't say I help people get in.
You can, just as long as you can explain what unstuck means. If I help somebody get unstuck, it's because I pull my winch out and I pull them out with my truck.
So I love that you pose that because it's true, right? Mindset is such the pivotal point that keeps everybody from achieving the thing that they say that they want. So the simple down and dirty of it, because I really like simplifying things. I'm not super complicated speak, in all of these 18 syllable words, but it's really about helping someone get over the block, the hurdle, the mindset, belief, whatever they've made it mean about them, getting beyond that so that they can get to the next phase of whatever it is that they're trying to achieve, whether that's success, a relationship, a job, a career, a business. It's like we know what we want, but there's something keeping us from going there. And that's why we say stuck, because when we're in that confused state, that's the easiest way to describe it.
So basically the only people, so your statement a couple shows ago, Brian, you're talking about imposter syndrome. Only imposters don't have imposter syndrome. And that could be some of the issues that you're talking about, right, Karen?
It's some of it. Yeah. I mean, imposters just where we are afraid somebody's going to realize who we really are because we've presented ourselves as one way when we really feel a different way inside, whether that's fear or insecure. But we're functioning differently than we feel. And that's really not a bad thing.
Yeah. Brian gets through that by looking at the mirror in the morning. He just tells them some gratitudes in front of him.
What do you mean in the morning? Every pee break.
All day, every day, all day long.
It's like Saturday Night Live.
That's right.
Because gosh darn it, I'm just good enough.
I deserve it. Yeah. So like taking Ed's example earlier, let's say that somebody's brand new to business. They're trying to figure out, I want to stand out, but they're afraid to put themselves out there. What are the most common reasons that you see that people panic and pause?
Really, it's fear of two things: fear of success and fear of failure.
Okay.
And they're all rooted in the same thing, which is there's a level of shame underneath that if this happens, what does that mean about me? Mm-hmm. And it either means that I'm not good enough, never was good enough. That's confirming all of the things that I've always been afraid of. Or somehow it's proving someone else right, whatever that person said about me. So fear of failure, right? I don't want to fail, meaning, sorry, I'm getting all my words all confused. Yeah. Fear of success. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If we're afraid of succeeding, then what happens? Am I going to lose the relationships that I've created? Is something going to change about my life? Because I'm really comfortable where I am now, and I don't want to be uncomfortable. And that uncomfortable place tends to be the thing that is the defining moment when people push through the uncomfortable. So if you can get through that, yeah.
And that's the friction that makes you better.
It is the friction. It's the friction that makes our muscles stronger, right? When we get uncomfortable and we create that pain working out, it's the friction of, you guys talked about the ice baths, right? Like that uncomfortability makes you healthier, helps you to heal. It's always in that place of uncomfortability where things get better. When we stay comfortable, nothing changes.
Yeah, I live my life at uncomfortable.
It's a great way to live. You're getting
I deal
things
with
done
crying
that
a
way.
lot, so
twice a week punishment.
That is not punishment. You guys are the mess.
Okay, so
You haven't heard him cry.
Yes, not on the outside.
You assume I haven't. I saw him at the speakeasy. Steve made him cry.
That's right. All right. So you get past, a lot of times it comes down to shame. So like Janine Driver likes to talk about that. A lot of the reactions, body language, are angered in things like, is it anger? You know, anger is really a sign of fear. And that's why anger comes up. Fear of loss, fear of this. So you see people who have a fear of success. So they're afraid to put themselves out there. A fear of being disowned by the people that, it goes back to a survival of the fittest thing.
Right.
If you were ostracized by your tribe, you didn't get to live with the tribe and you died. Yeah. So we do kind of look for that approval of others. I don't care who says, I don't care what anybody else thinks. It's ingrained in you to a degree. Now, once somebody says, okay, I'm going to finally pull the trigger, I'm going to start this new business, start an LLC, I'm going to put myself out there. How do you help people when the financial side comes out? Because there's a very slippery slope of, you have to do for free to get exposure. But then the only way to stay in business is you eventually have to ask for money. So when somebody comes to you and they're starting it and they're like, I'm afraid to give a price or anything like that, how do you help people on that side of the fence?
For me, it's really getting to the root of where is that fear based, because I can't assume that their fear is based in the same place mine is. So mine came from an abandonment wound. I was adopted when I was born, and somehow when I found out that I was adopted, that made it mean that I had to be good enough so that whoever I was with at that moment didn't abandon me as well, right? That was rooted into my psyche somehow. And everything from that moment on was about overachieving so that I didn't get abandoned again. That's where my fear was rooted. And so I had a fear of, if I got too much money, then that was going to separate me from my current family because they came from a much different lifestyle. So there was all of these really intricacies. So it's really finding out what is their relationship with money. So their money language or their money avatar. I have a test that I do, and also understanding where is that fear. Where have they made that mean something about them? So where is that showing up? Because usually if it's showing up in one way, so it's showing up in their money, it's also showing up in other ways, in their relationships, in how they show up online, in other things that they're doing. Because again, how we do one thing is how we do everything. So there's this blanket of fear in our lives somehow, and we either overcompensate or we undercompensate because of it.
Sure. Okay, so once you help somebody identify what it is, how do you turn around and help them go, okay, now here's how you can put yourself out there? And I'm going to ask this on two parts. So step one is, how do you help them as a coach? And then later, when you get a chance, come back as Success North Dallas and say, how do you vet people to decide who you bring up in front, not only just to join the organization, right? But who do you bring? How do you find speakers? Because I think that's important to know. What does an organization look at when they consider people to come in? So obviously you're going to look at who's an authority, but what are criteria that as an event organizer you look at to consider people to do business with or bring in front of your audiences?
Wow, you just like blasted all that at me. Okay, so let's start with the first question. If someone can identify the thing that's getting in their way and they're committed, so in a coaching relationship, we create a blueprint this morning. Create a blueprint. So how are they going to begin? Because making the decision is the first step, but you have to make that same decision, just like working out, right? You have to make that same decision every day to show up and begin taking the mask of whatever it was that we were presenting before that didn't feel authentic, that we were disconnected from, and begin showing up authentically. And you look for little things and ways of proof where you're being accepted, successful, where I'm safe, the little wins, if you will. So just like, working out, you find your little wins. Maybe that's a non-scale win. Maybe that's your pants are feeling loose and you're getting some victory there. You're able to lift more weight. You're able to do more, reps. With you're showing up in success with your business, how you're standing out. You watch your, how many people are watching your videos, how many people are showing up for your lives. You look for those little numbers that are indicators that things are working out, or maybe you're having more conversations. Maybe you're being invited for more places. So follow this non-scale wins, if you will, for your business, and just see what are the things that are showing up and indicating to you that you've got some success. That's proof that it's happening for you. Maybe it happens overnight. Maybe it happens over a year. But just looking at you, you can look back at your commitment a year ago, the things that you committed to do, and probably in the moment each month, it didn't maybe feel like you were having the victory, but looking back, you can see all of these things. We saw, your video that you did. So that's just an example of how in the moment, it doesn't feel like you're making those little victories, but tracking them, having somebody help you that is a coach or a mentor or someone that if you can't afford a coach, get to a place where you can. That's another victory. So did that answer?
It did. Ironically, one of the things you hit on is I stumbled upon on accident. And that was I had to start keeping a Google Doc of what I was doing because I would get forgetful. And I was having calendar issues with Google for some reason. It'd be on my phone, not my computer. So I started a separate Google Sheets document where I listed everything on a podcast, went to a networking event. And so when I looked and tabulated it up this year, it was like 125 different things that were there. And most of them were either podcasts, attend an event, go to this. And some of those took, 3 or 4 days. Since we all met at a speakeasy, that's, 4 days of travel, the day before, 2 days there. And if you're going to hang out the last night, then you're going to stay. So it was interesting to see 100 different events because at times you feel like I'm not doing enough. And then you look back and you go, shit, I'm doing okay.
Yeah, exactly.
What about you, Ed?
I don't do anything.
You don't do anything?
Yeah.
You just count
liar.
Like Scrooge.
Liar.
Well, it's like I reached out to a company to do an unlimited editing, right? And I'm like, okay, this is what I do. I do a radio show, and then I do 9 lives from it a week. Plus, I do ACES53 twice a week. Plus, helping the Brave podcast. But it's 2 inner edits, and they're like, what? How are you doing all that? I'm like, I just do it. That's just how it is. Plus, I do my other work. So, and I'm the president of Rotary on top of that. So that's not even counting that.
Yeah.
That's why I said the busier you are, the more you schedule. And that's all it's about. I've made my life to where I work a lot from home now. So I don't waste 20 minutes to go to the office and then another 20 minutes saying, good morning. What are you doing today? I don't really give a shit. But yeah. But I have to be nice because that's how people say we should be. And then it gets, and because the reason I say that is I have a friend of mine, Ralph, he's like, he works at this one place or he rents an office and he's like, I wish I could just go into my office and work. And he's a vet like me. And he's like, but I got to say, good morning. How's your day? So I don't waste an hour anymore going into the office. And then, so it makes it so much. I save 2 hours total. And now look at, I have so much more time to work on other stuff.
That's a great thing. I think that came out of, if anything came out of it, the COVID situation and all the closures is we learned how to be more efficient and learn that we can, figure it out remotely and work from home. But you're right. The busier you are, the more efficient you have to be. Right. And necessity is the mother of invention. So it's also the mother of productivity and effectiveness. So
because I have a live I do in the morning 8:30, so but I take an hour or so to get ready for it in the morning. Well, now plus my book came out, so I had podcasts at 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. If anybody's in Brazil or someplace else, that the hours are totally different. So having it at home, I'm like, okay, no big deal, I can do that. Or at 5:30 or 7:30 at night, I don't have to go to the office to do it. Now I have built out a studio at my house, and it's about that. And the more focused you are, less distractions, you get so much more done.
Yeah. But if you hadn't documented it, would it feel like you were getting as much done, or would it just feel like you were busy?
Well, I'm a unique individual. I remember everything and I track everything in my head.
So if you're not Ed, you have to get some sort of,
you have to track. Yeah. You have to do like Brian does. I don't have, it's for me. I was like, okay, I can tell you right now everything I've done, and I'm good with that. I'm always trying to do way more and do more and do more because one day I'll be dead. So
no.
Yeah.
Really?
No, because some people ask me why I do this. I enjoy the conversations. You know, when I talk to people, helping them do a mortgage, I'm telling their story. That's what I do. I tell people stories. So I'm helping them get their loan. When I'm doing my podcast, I'm helping them tell their stories. When we're on this, we're helping people tell their stories. And that's what it's about. And since I enjoy that, and that's what I do, it's not work for me.
I think that, you know, Brian shared a great point that he had 130, what, how much was it?
Let me tell you.
It was over 100.
It was over 100, yeah.
Appearances, but if you hadn't tracked them, you wouldn't have realized it. But also looking back at that and having that ability to reflect, you were also able to begin prioritizing the things that were a great use of your time. Right. So, but without being able to reflect on it, you couldn't delineate. You wouldn't be able to sift through it. So you have to have success, you have to have some way to track and measure.
Right.
And
it's like everything else. We don't pay attention to what we do. I know what you guys got going on. I'm like, oh, look, Ed's got all this. Karen's got all this. We don't track our own stuff. And like this 105 things here, that doesn't even include doing this. And we do this twice a week. You know, it's
so that means in a year, you've done another 110.
I know.
So double it.
Some time off. Speaking of which, I won't be here next Thursday.
But that's a lot of time. That's a lot of activity. Right. And so the more that you can begin to see those little small wins and begin to identify, okay, where am I enjoying, right? What are the things I really love to do? Is there money from that? So you can kind of then begin to use that Einstein matrix, you know, where this is making me money and I enjoy it. I mean, I do a variation of it, but like this is making me money and I hate it. This is not making me money, but I enjoy it. And this is not making me money and I don't like it. So you can begin to sift out and help you find and feel success, because it's not just about being successful, because you can make a lot of money and be absolutely miserable, or you can have a lot of success, be, you know, everywhere on every medium and hate it.
I want to make a lot of money and see if it makes me miserable.
I've been there, but yeah, but also your definition of success, you have to define that for yourself.
Right.
It doesn't mean 100%. That you're on. I'm successful because I'm on all this media. I'm successful because I'm on. That doesn't mean that you're successful. Right. The question is, how do you derive what that number? You need to look into yourself and figure out what that means, and only look at yourself each year, not other people. And a lot of people look at, well, so-and-so's doing this much and Ed's doing that much. Who cares? Ed's crazy. That doesn't even, you know, it's a little different. So
I agree to disagree on that. I agree. Don't make a direct comparison. I look at if somebody's doing more, it inspires me. Oh shit, what else could I be doing? Not, oh damn, I didn't do enough. But if somebody is successful, celebrate other people's wins, because I think it brings more to you as well.
I didn't say that. I didn't say, so that's not, I don't know why you're disagreeing with me. I'm talking about me. Not about other people. What I'm saying is, if you're trying to say what you are successful, first you need to know what that definition means to you.
100%.
Period. And you can't look at other people and go, I need to do exactly what they're doing. That might not work for you. You need to find out what works for you. And over time, the more you do, the more you're going to figure out what works for you.
Absolutely.
And then go, okay, that didn't really work for me. And stop looking at, oh, I only got 1 or 2 likes. Okay. First of all, why are you doing it? And are you doing it for your perfect client? You're a perfect avatar. If you are, and you only get one and you get that perfect avatar, who cares if anybody else is looking at it? Right. And you can't go by the matrix of just quickly, oh, there's only like 10 views. Unless you go inside and see how many, because that only counts when people click on it.
We lose Ed.
They can watch it without touching it, and it doesn't count on that number. But if you go on the full end numbers, you'll see that more people have seen it.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I think Brian lost you for a second.
Yeah,
you good?
You want to wait? Yeah, now I see it again.
Okay.
Did that go away?
Yeah. Well, she said she was still seeing you. I couldn't see you.
I saw you the whole time.
Yeah, it's his Wi-Fi, but he blames me all the time.
It's direct. No, I'm direct.
I got 600 by 600, so I don't want to hear it, Mr. Not 800 down and 22
I have Spectrum. I get up to 30. upload. Take that.
I have fiber.
Yeah.
Besides in my diet.
I was going to say. All right. We're halfway through. So let's swap to the second half of the question. And that was, because you're involved with an organization that looks at vetting people to join the organization and come in and speak to the organization, what are some of the big things that you look at before y'all bring somebody in so that people know what should they work on to become an authority? Yeah,
I think it's very much the way that you would vet somebody to do business with. You want to make sure that you're aligned, that you're, in the same integrity, that they're in alignment with you in that regard. And for us, it's about serving. So Success North Dallas was founded almost 36 years ago now by Bill Wallace. And it was built on doing the right things with the right people for the right reasons. And so helping people to connect, to find jobs, to find opportunities, without being salesy, without pitching. And so the speakers that come in, they need to speak to a market of people who are professionals. They want to be in the room, because if you're there on the third Wednesday of the month at 7 a.m. at 22 degrees this morning, you're someone that's driven, and you're someone that's purpose. And so we really want to make sure that they're that kind of people. And there have been people that have been invited to find other organizations because they just weren't in alignment. They couldn't honor that. But for a speaker to come in, one of the things is, do they have credibility, or do they just talk the talk, right? Do they really walk? Have they lived this? Are they someone that can pour from a cup that's full of experience, or is it just a bunch of bull?
And how do you figure that out? I'm trying to find out how Brian got in.
Brian was in the right place at the right time and had proven himself for a year.
So the door opened and he walked through it, is what you're saying.
He built it, and then everything's starting to come. So
it's more like tailgating. You know how when you go through security and two people, you tailgate somebody up from the door? I did that with Greg Reed.
When they talk about you are the sum of the people that you hang around with, that's really true. Brian hangs around the right people, and they hang around him because he is that person of integrity. And that spoke a lot about what we could expect. And so, and honestly, because I knew him personally, that went a long way. So
did you see his face change when you said that? It's still irritating. It's not irritating. He's like, am I really that?
I was actually thinking,
because Brian is a total introvert. So, he still gets nervous. I can see it in his face every time he speaks. He's just been doing so much better at it. And you can see it right now. It's like when you said that, he's thinking about it. So go ahead, Brian.
He's a highly functioning, extroverted introvert.
Well, I was actually going to say, it's funny how we all met through attending an event, right? But there's lots of people who attend, but it's still, who do you choose to hang out with? I actually spent my birthday with Karen and two of the other people that we were at the speakeasy with. So one guy drove from wherever, Keller. One drove from Frisco. Karen drove from Denton, and we all tried to find a centralized meeting spot. And so we, even after that event's done, we still try and meet up as the local Dallas part of that. And it's kind of fun.
So it's really about the intention, right? So what is their intention? How are they walking the walk and living? And people like Greg Reed, they have an amazing reputation, but then we have others that come in and people don't know them. So we have a human barometer, which is called Casey Haston, and just her intuitive instincts of, is this person in alignment? She does a full vetted interview with them and has them on her podcast usually first. And how do they show up? How do they talk? How do they, how do they just pour out from their vessel? So I say that because I really like that analogy of where this vessel full of all this wisdom, experience, good, bad, and different. And what are we doing with that? Is it just serving me? The thing about Success North Dallas is nobody's paid to speak. So they're not coming there because they're getting, thousands of dollars, or they get to pitch from the front of the room, because they don't get to do either. They're there because they truly want to do the thing that's they're called to do, which is serve. And so we kind of vet people out based on that. So if you're not someone that's just there to serve, you really aren't a good fit.
And it's some pretty big speakers. I mean, I was there for one of the ones. Was the guy, was he advertising behind not Chick-fil-A? Who was, I'm trying to think, he was there like 2 months ago in November. Some like advertising legends. Then Amelia was there. She flew in from New York City.
You talking about C-Rock?
No, no, I know C-Rock pretty well. So actually, Ed knows C-Rock because when we all went to Secret Knock, we all sat at the same table.
Oh, okay.
The very first year we were there. No, who was the advertising guy? Yeah, I'm trying to blank on his name now. Anyway, somebody I'd never heard of, but I really, truly enjoyed his talk. But yeah. Now, C-Rock was definitely good. I had watched C-Rock. I got there late because I dropped kiddo off and then came and saw C-Rock. But he was really good too.
Yeah. Nick Kennedy?
That sounds right.
Blonde-haired?
Yeah, blonde-haired guy.
Yeah.
You cheated and looked. I saw that.
I did. Yeah. I was like, who? I was like, it wasn't Nick. But yeah, we've had I'm looking at the website, the CEO of Fair Park. We've had Chris Gronkowski on. Yep. Darren Martin, Bill Walsh. I mean, we've had some amazing people. We also make it worth their while. So when they come in, they get a bunch of other interviews. They get to go on a couple podcasts, and we really try to make it a benefit for them. Mm-hmm. But for Success North Dallas, the people in the room are professionals. They're looking for some sort of professional development and some networking relationships. So really intentional relationships. I like Ed. I do a lot of things. I'm also president of the Texas Business Women's Association. I have a business partnership with Casey Haston, the CEO of Success North Dallas, which is how I got involved. We have a speaker coaching platform. I have my own business partnership with my husband. And so I do a lot of things. So everything I do has to have intentionality behind it.
That's called marriage, Karen.
Is that what that is?
Yeah. Yeah. The partnership with your husband is called marriage. Yeah. It's
no, we have a contract. Like he has, no, just joking.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, in many ways.
Yeah.
But that, yeah, just there has to be some intentionality behind it, and it has to be a reason. And the people that we vet that come in the room. So if you're wanting to find a networking family that's really supportive, positive, it's not cliquey, or I don't feel like it's cliquey. Success North Dallas is a great place, and it's just successnorthdallas.com.
So you kind of dropped a small little subtle bomb in there. And if you want to talk about it, cool. If you don't, cool too. So you mentioned a new speaker platform and things. So I think there's a lot of people who listen and they think, well, I'm just not big enough to work with someone yet. So what would be like the barrier to entry of somebody who wants to become a speaker? What do they need to do before they would ever be considered for a platform?
I think the biggest thing is you have to speak for free. You
Right.
have to be able to share your information, your wisdom, in rooms where you're not getting paid. Mm-hmm. And I mean, for us, our platform, because we've been around people that they have a great message, they have a great platform personally, but they don't have a big audience. We understand the power of networking. And so we're always, hey, you need to meet this person and you need to meet that person. And so that's where the platform that we have came from, was that desire to connect people. And so we also realized that not everybody can pay $3,000 to be a part of a speaker platform. So it doesn't cost anything to be on ours, unless you want help creating your, one sheet and all the things. But we're about intentionality. And so the people on our platform are people who are making the world a better place in a way that we align with and agree with. And so for someone that's looking for platforms, it's really just showing up. You've got to get out there and speak. And Brian has encouraged me, because I love being behind the scenes and the one that's helping others find their voice and doing things. And that meant I had to do it too. So my days were back in the financial services days, did a lot of speaking. But now as a coach and speaking on this side of the mic with more personal and motivational and things like that, I'm learning I've got to step out of the shadows and use my voice, not just to cheer individual people on behind the scenes, but to go and have the broader message. So because I'm friends with Brian, that means you get kicked out of the nest and you have to go do stuff that you say you're going to. So there you go. Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome. So
and that's,
yeah.
Hold on. Can I get a word in here, Brian?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Where's this located? The speaker thing, is that all over the country or just in Dallas?
All over the country. It's destinationawaken.world. So we've got, it's just launching. So you're going to go to the website and you're going to be like, there's only 3 people on there. That's because Brian has inside knowledge and it's not all out there, but he's going to be on it. And we are, because of our resources through the Success North Dallas and the speakers that we do know and the networks that we have opportunities for people to go get in front of other people and share their message, whether that's at a university or with the military or, something corporate. And so we're really intentionally creating this platform for people who are making the world better with their voice and their experience, but they're not a Tony Robbins. They're not a Greg Reed or a Steve Sims. They're a much smaller message right now, and they deserve to be heard. And so we're getting them in front of people. And Brian and I have talked about other ways to help people get the assets that they need. So when I say assets, meaning like the speaker reel and their video and their copy and all of those things. So there's a lot of things in the works to help people, but sometimes they just don't know. They don't know what they don't know, and they don't know where to go to get it. So we're just trying to be a part of that process and create some resources.
If you need any help, I'm always here. I mean, I don't need anything from it. If you have any questions or anything I do when it comes to, I've been doing radio since 2018 and podcasts forever. So I have a lot of knowledge on that side if anybody needs it. So.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah. Thank you, Ed. I appreciate that. There's always, no matter where we are, we're never arrived, right? We're always learning. So
yeah.
Always learn.
And a lot of people don't realize what we think is common knowledge, people are willing to pay for.
Yeah, 1,000%. And I think that's where, back to your question of how do you stand out, it's assuming that what you have is worth selling to someone. Maybe not selling to everyone, right? Because you can't help everyone. But what you have, the experience, the knowledge that you have, someone is behind you willing to pay you to help them.
Mm-hmm. And if you can't afford coaching or anything, I mentioned this the other day. I'm in the middle of rereading Book Yourself Solid. I think that's a great book to help you kind of figure out who's your target audience, what do you want to set up, what do you want to offer. And it even has simple things in there like don't have a Hotmail or Gmail or AOL email for your business, right? Have a separate bank account, have professional looking cards. So if anybody's listening and thinks, well, I'm not ready there yet, then pick up the book. It'll cost you $20 and start there, figure it out. And then when you're ready, pull the trigger and hire a coach like yourself or, hire out the services that will help you grow your business. And when I say that, look, I bootstrapped a lot of stuff in the beginning, like a lot of people, because you're like dipping a toe in to a degree. But that's a good place to start is like the book Book Yourself Solid.
Absolutely. And find people that, are speaking and sharing. They're on podcasts, they're on YouTube. Most of them will have some sort of freebie. So they have free offers. You can get free content. Free trainings up to a certain point, right? It's not going to be like being in a mastermind or getting one-on-one help, but at least it's information that you can get going, get some traction and some leverage. But if you're like me, I'm a personal development junkie. Like I accumulate all of this stuff. So I have treasure troves of information that I probably never even went back and looked at. So find one person, or maybe it's 2 people, but just lean in and learn from them. Maybe that's a mentor, maybe it's that book, but we tend to get all of these voices in our head and everybody's saying different things. And then we get in analysis paralysis and we do nothing. So find a lane, master that lane, and then branch out.
100%. There's 2 people advertising right now. It's funny because I see them all over Instagram. A guy I met at the event in Florida last week, his is low ticket offers, how you can make, 6 figures selling low ticket, like $10, $20, $30 items. And on the other side, you have Eileen Wilder, who right now she's like, you need to be having a large ticket item that's like 250,000. So to your point, it's like, where do you go? who speaks to you more? Where do you want to start? Get in, try that. One thing I will give Ed total credit for is Ed plays with everything. Like we'll talk about a software and Ed's off and running. Hey, I did this with it. Like when we started talking about Opus clips and what's the other one?
How about Chat GPT over 2 years ago?
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chat GPT, Opus clips, you used Cast Magic. Mm-hmm. And then when we start talking about Go High Level, he's like, okay, I already found a guy and I got all this stuff fixed. Like Ed will run with stuff. That's an impressive trait that Ed has.
I bet Ed's a manifesting generator. Do you guys do human design?
I've seen a presentation on it. I've not done it.
Ooh, so there is a code breaker for mastering yourself. It's called human design. So that's a whole nother show.
Well, I know it comes down to you have to have the day you're born, the time you're born, and some other information, right?
Yeah, just name, place, date, and time.
Yeah. Interesting stuff.
What if you don't have a birth certificate?
Then you can guess.
I'm just kidding.
You just make it up. Friday, Burger King, 1974. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know the day. I know where. I don't know the time though. I have to look at my birth.
I would say noon, and then see if the results align.
No, I think it was in the evening.
There you go.
Middle of the night.
Yeah. He's late to everything.
No, that's on time. I was early. It was supposed to be the next day, but it was this day.
Ah.
So it really is amazing to just get confirmation. But going back to everything to kind of sum up what we said, you can find validation of anything that you want to do. Somebody is making money at it.
Yeah.
The point is to just figure out what it is you want to do, what do you enjoy doing, and just go do it. Try it, practice it. It's not failure unless you quit and just give up. That's when you fail. Otherwise, it's just learning.
I think a lot of people have a problem starting, like if they were going to get into coaching or whatever, it's finding that first client or that first this, or what do I need to do to get there? Yeah. People are just worried about how to move forward because like I'm good at a lot of other stuff, but there's some stuff I'm not good at, where Brian's good at a lot of stuff that, and I'm better at other things than him, but we all have our benefits and our, the things that we can do. And, and like for me, when I first met Brian, I threw his ass into everybody that I knew there at the event, and he knew everybody before the end. And he was talking to people in bars that he didn't even know. So,
always.
Yeah. Well, that's more fun. I don't care about those people.
And I would mess with them. I go, okay, I want you to do that woman over there. And her boys were all around her.
Yeah.
I'd make it hard for him to do it, and then so he would go to the boys first and get them in, and then he would go to the women.
So I will tell you, I stole this today from Eileen Wilder and what she was talking about, and she said the mindset you have to have is there's so many customers out there that I don't even have time that want my product that I don't even have time to find them all. So that was one, and then don't be a hardaholic, because those are people who are it's too hard, I can't do it, it's too hard. I love those two things that she said today.
I love that. I think the other thing is when we start something, our reticular
operating system. Yep.
Automatically it starts seeing it everywhere. And then we search for something and now it's in all of our social feeds. Yep. So then we start a message and we're like, oh my God, it's everywhere. There's no place for me. Mm-hmm. But choose to see that as proof that there's a market for that, rather than it's too saturated, there's nothing for you. Because 2 years ago, Ed saw ChatGPT. Well, now ChatGPT is 2 years later, and look at what it's happening. If ChatGPT would have said, oh, there's this thing going on, then we can't do that. Or Go High Level. There was already CRMs. Mm-hmm. If Go High Level had thought about that or positioned themselves and, oh, there's already CRM, Salesforce is out there, we can't do a CRM. Right. They just did it different.
Well, they didn't even start that way. They started other ways, and then they added everything that their customers wanted. There's the difference. Yeah.
So
and the ChatGPT thing was just how, and I told people you're limited by what you can ask it or how you can ask it. And that's what limited a lot of people. Or like Cast Magic, which I use to edit and transcribe my stuff now. I don't have to come up with the prompts. The prompts are already inside this application that works for me, and it does everything I want it to do in seconds, where I had to train my ChatGPT to do it.
Right.
So there's a market for everything. You just have to Do one thing. Just get started.
So like Manoj, since we're talking about AI,
right?
You know, AI has been around since what he say the 70s that he started working on it. And so you're right. We do get in that mindset of, oh, somebody else is farther. You just have to be one step further than the people you're going to teach it to. Don't call yourself an expert, right? Like right now, the big challenge is whatever's out there, like, oh, AI came out. Oh, I'm an AI expert. I guarantee you after this week. So Alex Ramosi announced that he's investing in School, SKOOL. Next week, we're going to start seeing, oh, I'm a School guru. I've been using School for so long because people want to ride the waves of whatever's popular. You know, it was NFTs, it was AI. It's, you know,
I saw NFTs and I was trying to tell people run as fast as you see this.
Right. It's not everybody wants to listen though.
Yeah. It's like pogs. It's like all those things that people collect.
Yep.
Furbies.
My Beanie Babies aren't worth anything anymore.
Nope.
So disappointing.
It's how they sold stocks back years and years ago. They would call everybody, we got this great idea. Blue Horseshoe loves. Anyway, you didn't watch Wall Street, but anyway.
Yes, I did. Wolf of Wall Street. I know where you're going.
No, not Wolf of Wall Street. The original Wall Street.
Oh no, I was talking about Wolf of Wall Street. So, because yesterday I want to watch
Blue Horseshoe, or Blue Horseshoe likes Anaconda Steel or whatever was that's how they were doing stuff to
trade.
Anyway,
Yes.
So our most important thing is stop worrying about it, get going, and you're going to make mistakes. You know, the whole reason we started this was somebody said, you know, get going, then get good.
Right.
And we're still trying to get good.
That's right. Eventually it'll happen.
Yeah. No, it's just, you know, you grow every year so much better. I was in a documentary and it came out 2 years later and I watched it and I cringed because I was like, man, I'm so much better than that now.
Yeah. Have you guys ever seen Joe Rogan's first podcast or those first couple?
No.
Go back. I don't even know if it's still available, but everybody's got to start somewhere.
I saw Grant's. They were really bad.
Well, I mean, my radio show was live when I first started, and you want to talk, there was mistakes because I didn't know what I was doing. Now it's like we just roll and there's nothing to it.
Yeah.
We can talk for 43 minutes about nothing.
And we're at 47. So we've talked about stuff.
We proved it today. You can.
No, we talked about stuff today. I'm talking about the radio show. It's a little different.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So is it just you and the other guy going, no, you hang up first. No, you hang up first. Is that
Jerky Boys?
I haven't thought about them in a long time.
No. Well, that's just like everybody had to sign up to watch the Chiefs game, the Peacock, right?
Yep.
And remember the movie Ted?
Yep.
They have a series now on there.
I saw that.
It's the prequel. Don't watch it because it's funny as shit. It's so hilarious.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Is it Mark Wahlberg?
He's not in this. But Mark Wahlberg was in those two movies. Yeah. This is him. This is a prequel. So when they're in high school.
Oh, okay.
And
like way back prequel.
Yeah. And awesome. It's you know, it's Ted, you know, just Seth Rogen. No, it's the guy that created
it's Seth Rogen, not Joe Rogan.
Not Rogan.
Yes, Seth Rogen. You're talking about he was in 40-Year-Old Virgin. He was in
who created the cartoons that everybody hates?
Seth MacFarlane?
Yeah, MacFarlane. Thank you. Thanks for looking it up.
I saw it. Getting ready to look it up.
Yeah, I did.
Because I can see this.
I'm like, I think it's the guy that looks like.
Anyway, so it's funny. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
If you want to have, not care about anything and have some fun laughs, it's a good show for that. But the only reason I bring it up is because you need to cancel Peacock if you signed up for it.
I don't remember. There was some other show that I wanted to watch that it required Peacock, but the other one they have is The Hotel from John Wick.
Yeah, Continental. That's really
Continental. Good. Yeah, I watched that. Some good parts, some cheesy parts, but
John Wick was total cheesy parts because they never ran out of bullets.
It can happen.
Yeah. Okay, that's a 6-shot revolver, but you just did 12. How does that work? Anyway,
he needs those 5 extras that he always puts in their head.
That's right. He does. At least it's better than the 80s movies. They never ran out of bullets. At least here they show mag swaps, right?
Occasionally.
after 200 bullets, but still they show a mag swap. It's fine. Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah. Reacher. I don't know if you've seen the new series, Reacher.
Oh yeah.
That one's total, he's constantly putting new I mean, that's how it should be. So, and he is the true, what Reacher was supposed to look like. So,
they're considering him. I know you're going to say it. They're considering him for the new Batman. Because they're like, he actually looks like the comic book with the big build and all that kind of stuff. So they're considering, will he be the new Bruce Wayne / Batman?
Oh, thank God he was on American Idol without a shirt.
Oh, was he really? I didn't.
That's how. He followed Paula Abdul, whatever her name is.
Paula Abdul.
Thank you. Around and always was shirtless when she was around.
That's how he got it.
Well, that's how he got pretty much started the whole thing, and then started doing.
Well, we know how you found him.
That was.
I know what he's watching. He's a Paula Abdul fan.
A TikTok. That's correct. A TikTok.
So,
let's call it there, Brian.
Yeah, that is how you build your authority. Get in shape, walk around, follow a celebrity without a shirt. Thank you for that. That's how we're gonna wrap it up today.
I'm so glad I could contribute to that.
If you have a problem with that, get a coach.
That's right. Andy Elliott can still fire you if you don't have a 6-pack. So there you go. So
does it matter what kind of beer?
No, it's definitely not that kind of beer. All right. Well, hey, Karen, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, guys.
Ed, of course, thank you for always being here and for bringing us in so I don't screw up what ACES stands for, which I do on a pretty regular basis. But you want me to take us out the rest of the way?
I thought you were, but okay, I'll do it. All right. Thanks for being here, Brian. Karen, thank you so much for sharing today. We really appreciate it. You
guys are the best.
All right. Thanks. And we appreciate you for watching and listening to us. Again, if you have anything, comments or questions, reach out to us. The best way you can support us is go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. That's ACES53. And again, thank you to you both for being here and thank you for listening.